Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got in a flashlight to take a look at. This one's coming from Sofirn and the model is the SK30. This light was actually released in August of 2025 and it's very similar to the Phoenix PD36R Pro, but like at a third of the price. So stick around if you want to learn about it. I'll do a real quick unboxing, go over all the features and specifications, go over the user interface, try to give you guys some beam shots, and then give some overall thoughts on it. Quickly show you around this box. Looks like we're at 3000 lumen max output, 392 meter beam. It's going to have dual tail switches, a little bit of information there. And it looks like the LED is an SFT 70.2. Show you how things are packed in here and then what all we get. I'll pull all of this stuff out. All right, so it looks like we're going to get the flashlight, a sheath, the charging cable, which is type C to C, a lanyard, 2 spare O-rings, and the manual. Quickly show you this manual, just in case there's anything that I leave out in the video, or in case you buy this light and lose your manual, you can always come back to this video for reference. Also quickly show you this little sheath holster here. It actually seems like it's of really good quality. It's pretty rare to see flashlight companies include sheaths with flashlights anymore, but this is considered kind of like a duty tactical light. So this kind of is designed for law enforcement, security. It's going to have a button closure, but also Velcro to make sure that it does not pop off of your belt there, D-ring back there. There was this little warning on the light saying that we're going to need to remove the insulation from the battery, which we'll get to here in a bit. So this light is going to be constructed out of 6061 aluminum. It does have a black anodization on it. It's kind of like a matte finish on the ends and then almost kind of like maybe like a satin here in the middle. I don't usually like when a flashlight is like two different colors, but this actually looks really good and works really well together. You can see there's like some designs here. This is not a tail cap. This does not remove. It'll unscrew from here in the middle. But yeah, I really like how everything's working here. This has like some grooves that are going across with lines that are going at a diagonal. Provides a little bit of traction there. I've read that you can put like tritium vials in these spots here, but this is going to have dual tail switches. That's your area for your lanyard. You can also go through the clip if you want to run your lanyard there. Crenulated bezel, and our charging port. This is going to have an IPX8 waterproof rating, so it's definitely submersible, and it has a drop rating at 1 meter. As far as dimensions on it, we're looking at about 5.5 inches in length. We're at 1.1 in diameter, and there it is on a dollar bill for reference. As far as weight, we are coming in at 5.6 ounces, and that is with that battery in it. And speaking of the battery, let's take a look at it and get that film off. So there's a little thing we needed to remove. Sofirn branded 21700 battery, 5000 milliamp hours. This is not a proprietary battery. You can use any 21700. In fact, you can probably use any 18650 in this flashlight. And if you removed your battery and forget which way it went in, there's a little indicator right there saying positive goes up toward the head. I'm going to go over the user interface here next. I'm going to show you guys the chart with all of the outputs, the beam distances, and the runtime, so I don't have to say all those numbers every time. This light is fairly simple to operate. You're going to have your main switch here and then like your mode switch here. It does have mode memory, so we can do a half press and it's completely silent here. Again, this kind of gives us our tactical part of this, but you half press for a momentary and then you fully press to turn it on. This is going to be our eco right here. And if we want to advance through them, we're just going to press this mode button here. So we're going to have low, medium, high, turbo, and then it goes back to eco. And then to shut it off, You just press that. There is a way to get to instant turbo with the light off. You basically just half press this 2 times. So at first it's going to be our eco, which we just shut it off in, but then you can see immediately goes up to that 3000 lumen turbo. Just again, a little half press and then press again. And also from off, when you go into that turbo, you can fully press it to leave it on. So again, eco, turbo, and then if I press, I leave turbo on. So you don't have to have a momentary for it. This light is going to have direct access to strobe. I'll show you that next. So if you're sensitive to flashing lights, you can look away for a minute. But this button right here, from off, if you just press it, it immediately takes you into that strobe. There is a way to get to constant strobe. So let's say you have the light on, you can be in any output. If you then press and hold this button for a few seconds, it'll go into constant strobe. And a really nice feature is that once you hit this, it'll go back to the output that you were using before. But that's honestly it on the user interface. It's super simple. It's click to turn on, click to turn off, and then click this other button to cycle through your outputs. Did want to show you guys that there is a battery level indicator. So when you turn this on, you can see we're a flashing green right now. That means we're somewhere between 50 and 75%. If it were solid green when we turned on, it's somewhere between 75 and 100%. Solid red is between 25 and 50%. And flashing red is somewhere below 25 to 1%. When you are charging the light, that's going to be red, turns green when it's fully charged, and you cannot use the light if you're charging it. Let's quickly check to see if an 18650 will work. It should, but let's be sure since I told you it would. So that cycles through and looks like everything functions perfectly fine. Here's what the SK30 is going to look like in the sheath. There is not a lockout on this light. It does take some pressure though to push on this to get that to activate. I'm not sure if you could accidentally do it, and you for sure cannot click it on through this, so it would be just like that momentary, but just let you know there's not a lockout. And if you decide you want to pocket carry this light, maybe a 1/2 inch or so sticking up, and even though it's a 21700, it is very pocketable. It's not too long and it's definitely not too heavy. All right, let's see what this SK30 looks like here in the dark. This is going to be the Eco first. As you can see, even that is fairly bright and illuminates an entire room. Really nice center hot spot, but really good spill over here as well. Let's go to the low. And then let's cycle on up to the medium. You can really see that center hot spot over there. Go up to the high. And finally the turbo. I am going to show you the strobe here in the dark, so if you're sensitive to the flashing lights, you can look away for a few seconds. Alright, let's check out the SK30 outside. Again, I'm going to start off in the Eco first. Those trees right there are about 60 to 70 feet away or so. As you can see, it does have pretty good throw, even on this lower output. But let's go up to the low. We're getting to be about 120, 130 feet away there. There's actually a tree that's back there. Not that one, but kind of in between them. It's about 100 yards away. The camera has a harder time picking that up, but I can see that very clearly, even on low. Let's bump up to the medium next. Go back over this way. There, you can see that tree pretty well now. Get 100 yards away back there. And let's go up to the high. It's a very impressive light. And finally, we'll go up to the turbo. So at this point, I probably have close to 50 flashlights from Sofirn, and I think for the money, they can't be beat. Do you guys have any Sofirns or any experience with them? Let me know down in the comments. As far as this SK30, I absolutely love it. Like most Sofirn lights, the build quality on this is excellent. The performance on it with both throw and spill was fantastic. This does have that boost driver in it, so it's able to maintain some of those higher outputs for a really long time. The high, which is like 1,000 lumens or so, it will maintain that for over 10 minutes without ever stepping down at all. And even the turbo, the 3,000 plus lumens, that'll go for well over a minute before stepping down. So yeah, really good numbers on it. Another thing with that beam is that it has a really nice color or tint to it. I didn't really notice any type of green color or anything like that, and I didn't notice any like artifacts in the beam. I like how simple the user interface is on this light. You could probably hand this to somebody that doesn't know anything really about flashlights, and they could figure out how to get through these different modes. I like that they include a pretty decent 21700 battery and a really nice sheath. And I also like the fact that you can use any 21700 battery with this flashlight. A few things to let you guys know about. I mentioned this earlier in the video, but there is not a lockout on this flashlight. If it's in your pocket, there is a chance of that, because it doesn't take much here. Like, it's just the slightest little pressure on that switch there. And even though it's not you got to fully click it to get it to be constant on, but if your body was pushing against that, it would stay on as long as the button is being pressed. And if you shut it off and you're in the eco and you did that, it probably wouldn't ever do anything. However, if you were up in that turbo when you shut it off, when you hit that, it comes back on that turbo, and that does get really hot really fast. So again, no lockout on it. Next thing, it doesn't really bother me, but it does some people, but this light cannot tail stand. Because these buttons are kind of pronounced here. They kind of did this on purpose again to kind of make it tactical, but also if you have gloves on your hand, you can easily find that main switch right there. But I don't need every single flashlight to be able to tail stand though. And finally, the eco on this is around 30 lumens. So this light does not have a true moonlight, like a half lumen or a 1 lumen. So if you need something that's a really, really low output like that, this cannot do that. But again, overall, I think this light is fantastic, and I would definitely recommend it to you guys. So these lights are available on Sofirn's website. It's sofirnlight.com. Coming in at $44, and there's actually a 10% off code that you can put in, bringing them to less than $40. I've ordered from the site before. It generally takes a couple of weeks or so, but they do have free shipping. They're also available on Amazon, but they're kind of significantly more. They're $65 on there, but you would get it in a day or two. But I'll leave links to both of those sites down in the video description in case you guys want to find out more information on the flashlight, if you want to read some of the other reviews, or if you want to pick one up. But alright guys, if you found the video helpful or informative in any way, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.